Okay, we have not done this problem here yet. These kinds of problems, they don't take very long, but there's a different setup than you're used to. It says a coffee manufacturer sells cinnamon coffee for $7 per pound and vanilla coffee for $10 per pound. At the end of the month, the cinnamon coffee had 30 pounds remaining. The store manager decides to mix these 30 pounds with the vanilla coffee. He's going to sell the mixture for $8.50 per pound. How many pounds of vanilla coffee should be mixed to ensure that there's no change in revenue? And basically what that's asking is how many pounds of vanilla coffee will we put in there so that I can make the same amount as if I sold them separately. Okay. So what I do, obviously, is I make the 3-unit table because we have the cinnamon and vanilla separate and then together. Okay, that's why I've been putting together. So how many per and total? Then put your dollar sign there. Now you can't just freak out here because this right here is a different type of problem. Okay, the amount sold together. Here's the kicker. You don't have a total money amount. Okay, that's per pound. That can't be total. That's per pound. That can't be total. That's per pound. That can't be total. So I'm going to put a little question mark there. Now you think the same way on the top row. You're like, okay, what amount of money or what non-money amount do I have? I have 30 pounds, but that's not together. That's the cinnamon. Okay, it says that. You got to read the problem. You can't just be sticking a 30 there and putting X, Y automatically. You're going to get nowhere. 30 pounds of cinnamon. Okay. Now we delete both the 30s because they stand for the same thing. All it did was repeat information. Okay, so my vanilla is just going to be X. Now over here, since I can't add these, okay, I call this X plus 30. It's plus. Don't put it as 30X. That's dumb. Put a parentheses around that. Okay. Okay, now what do you have for money amounts per? Well, $7 per pound, that's your cinnamon. Okay. Cross that out. And then $10 per pound, that's your vanilla. There's another per pound amount here, $8.50. Well, that's when we mix them together. Okay. So $8.50 is the together amount. Okay. Now, we're pretty much out of values, so I multiply. 30 times 7 would be $210 for cinnamon if you sold it separately. This would be 10x if you sold it separately. Now, you're going to put an equals there. Now, you're going to sell this together, so you need to distribute. That's why you put a parenthesis, so you know you have to distribute. So x times 850 is 8.50x. And I have to take 30 times 8.50. It's 255. Now, you don't just go adding the x's together now because the equals is here, okay? So, I write 210 plus 10x equals $8.50 x plus 255. Now I have to use subtraction to get rid of one of my x's. I cannot just add them because they're on opposite sides of the equation. Okay, I'm going to subtract the smaller one. That gives me 1.5x plus the 210 equals 255. Then I minus 210, and that's 45. And then I will be dividing by 1.5, okay? And that's 30. So that said vanilla there. So 30 pounds of vanilla. So it's really a 30-30 mix. They're not always the same. You can't just think they're always going to be, if that's 30, that's 30. No, it's not, okay? So no change in revenue means selling them separately, okay? I'd make $210 from the cinnamon, plus, you don't need to do this, plus $10 for the vanilla, but we know that now there's 30 pounds. Okay, they'd make $510 doing that. Now, let's say they mix them together, okay? So $8.50, 30 pounds times 30 plus 255, and that's 5/10. So again, there we have it. It's really not that difficult of a problem. Okay. Now, one of these is a decimal at the end. The manager of a Starbucks store is mixing some Colombian coffee, which sells for $5 per pound, with Arabica coffee that sells for $10 per pound. Comes from Saudi Arabia, I guess. I don't know. I just made that up. At the end of the month, there are 50 pounds of the Arabica coffee left. The store manager decides to mix the remaining 50 pounds with some Colombian coffee. He decides to sell the new blend for $8.50 per pound. How many pounds of Colombian coffee should be in the new mix? Okay. Okay, so you got the Colombian, the Arabica, and then you're going to be selling them together. Okay, put together. Then how many per and total. All right, so it doesn't appear I have a money that really would be the total because they're per pound. So I put a question mark. We're going to need to fill that in. You don't just delete it. Now, non-money amounts. 50 pounds of Arabica. Okay. So I cross out the 250s because that's just repeated information. Colombian's X, but over here then I have to write X plus 50. Okay. Now, the money per, well, I got $5 per pound. That's for your Colombian coffee. $10 per pound is for the Arabica coffee. And we also got $8.50, which is the when I mix them together. That's your new blend. Put that in parentheses at plus. In these box problems, any expression with a plus, we're going to put in parentheses. No, you don't have to factor. That ain't coming up either. 5x. These are called linear equations. Okay, factoring is for quadratic equations. That's 500. Then equals. And we got to distribute that. So it's 8.50x plus 425. Now again, you can't add the x's because the equals is here. Okay. Now you can on those other ones. In the first packet we did like this because they end up in these two. If the x's, if you got an x in here and in here, you can't add them. You're gonna have to use the subtraction method. I'm smelling a decimal answer. That's all right. So I take away 5x, and that'd be 3.5x. Then we minus the 425. It's really just a simple equation. So 75 equals 3.5x. Okay, then we divide by 3.5. So I divide 75 by 3.5, and that would be 21.43 pounds of Colombian coffee. You kind of have to round it because it's not exact. Okay. And you have one problem to do with the cashews and the almonds.